there should be something at this scale, that explains the laws in the same way. What are the kind of basic spatial relationships of the law? This might be the zone-wise, and then here are my mechanical bathroom zones. This is my mechanical zone, mechanical plumbing zones. Okay? So zone-wise, this is how my retail works down, now how it gets into the retail. My lofts, maybe they do the same thing. And people can understand the connection between these two. Or you can bring this up right over the top of this, if you do have a strong connection between them, okay? If that's just your buildings around that connection, then we do both of these at the same level. We can either go down through and drill down through the retail by themselves, and then drill down through the lofts by themselves, or we can, but go from the big picture to the small picture. In the tectonics, it's the same way. What's the big picture of the tectonics?
Primary?
Yeah, it's right. It's that three-dimensional diagram of how this thing fits together. Okay, the framework. And we want to make sure that we show structure, especially maybe not at this level, but definitely at this level, we're seeing that structure expressed. Right?
I have a question. If it's an I-beam, do you want us to actually show the eye, or you just want to make it into like a block, just like a...
It all depends on scale.
Okay. Like if it's like a
if
general
you show
floor
an
plan?
I-beam and you're exposing that I-beam, you're not encasing it,
Mm-hmm.
okay? If you're not encasing it, I-beam, you're actually going to use the aesthetic, it would probably be best to leave the I-beam. But if it gets so small, that's no difference.
Okay.
Sometimes when it gets so small,
I was just telling him when I did mine and I put that scale onto the PowerPoint, it was just like, it just turned it into like a
A
little
line.
yeah.
it almost looked like I missed a corner because it was just met and there was just a gap.
Right. And sometimes there's where you want to then put something that's bigger than reality.
Right.
If you're trying to explain structure. So, and once again, you might start out in 3 dimensions, or you might just start out in a basic, it depends on the nature of your design. It might start out as a framing plan, okay? And then you go to the 3rd dimension. You might start out in the 3rd dimension and then go down to the framing plan. But somehow you got to get them understanding how this is that. How those two things are connected. Now, some of you it's going to be easier because your tectonics are just so in your face that they come through no matter where you are. Okay? A lot of other people's is very subtle, much more subtle. Okay? The 2 examples I can think about right now is Luis's tectonics are so in your face that you can't not see them. Okay? And then you take Joseph's, which are much more subtle, and Zach's, which are much more subtle. And Jeff's, the ones I've seen, they're much more subtle, articulated. Okay? So it's going to be, you're going to have to work a little bit harder to make sure that they understand the connection between what you're doing and what you're doing. Luis may not, because he's got these funky column beam things that are just, like I said, in your face. I mean, it's kind of hard not to see. And when you put them in plan, they're going to make statements, right? I mean, diagrammatically, his structure is this.
I have no idea what you're
And
hanging them?
that's so, like I said, in your face is what I can think about it. Of course, a lot of those is really so.
There's concrete.
It's not that one's right and one's wrong, it's just they're different, so it will take a little different way. So anyway, so structure, You know, we need to understand it three-dimensionally. We need to understand how it's enclosed.
Oh my god.
Right.
It's important.
What am I doing at each one of these stages?
Wall section.
Huh? No.
Breaking it down?
Yeah. I'm going down and down to a smaller and smaller scale. And some people even have this scale.
Oh no.
And I think it'd be a big mistake if you thought about it and you designed it, not to show it, Joseph. You know, not to have at least a diagram. Even if it's a hand-drawn sketch of it, is better than not showing it at all. Okay, not showing, hey, I thought about this, you know? You can sit there and do a little hand sketch and scan it and pop it in there, you know? This is my thoughts about what this joint is. I've actually thought it all the way down to this level. So everybody follow what I'm saying? And I'm not seeing, you know, once again, I'm only having a very tertiary look at everybody, you know, 2 or 3 people's, but I'm not seeing this logic flowing through them. And any time you can connect, notice that Ray Plato, they kept coming back to that one really nice rendering of the exterior. Look at how many times that thing, it actually shows up, because I only showed you 5 or 6 of their slides. It shows up regularly, okay? They're bringing the people back to this image. Right? Every time they move, every time they're talking about zoning and floor plans and all that, and then they bring them back to that image. Every time they talk about the mechanical system and they bring them back to that image. Okay? Trying to reinforce. Precedent should only be there if it's a part of your building. I didn't intend for y'all to show your precedent study. Okay? That's not what it's about. Okay? But if you're using a glass curtain wall system, a certain type of glass curtain wall system, show an example, you know, like Renzo Piano used it at Kansai Airport.
Show an image of the precedent
Sure.
that we used for.
Sure. And it should be named, and it should have an architect on it. You know? Sure. You know, once again, out of that whole slide, should it be this big? No. You know, but your detail or your design should be that big. But if you're talking about, you know, it's a little image over here, and this is what I'm talking about. This is what it drove. And then this becomes also the reason I know it from there. Yeah. People can't say, well, you can't do that. Oh, yeah. Depends on the company. Now, is it going to cost $300 a square foot to do it? Yeah. But that's not an issue. It can be done. Okay?
Carpenter tubes.
Yeah. So, and I think the guys that I have talking, they're not going to, they know that. I mean, they know that you're going to have those doing this. And then they make a couple of those statements. Yeah, but they're not going to evaluate.
It's expensive.
You know, the fact that you're doing, you know, an extremely high expensive design for a speculative housing retail. Huh?
It's like those 18-foot panes of glass.
Huh?
She's safe.
Okay. So remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you recorded it. Okay? This is really important, especially when you're working in a linear fashion like this, when you don't have everything up on the wall and they can't see all those drawings. You've got to walk them through it. As one of the reviewers said, now in the work, he says, when you're doing PowerPoint, it's a story, and you've got to tell them the story. And all good stories have a real good, as in that design argument, have a real good motivating sense. Something that captures them with it. And in our case, hopefully that's an image. That's everybody's got to meet the program, everybody's got to have parking. Those are not the unique things about your program. What have you brought to the design that's unique? You know, I was talking to Kevin about that, and as the old English design argument, everything in there was, well, those are just things you have to do. There's nothing. Think about that design argument as a story. Are you excited about the story you read in the first chapter? I wasn't excited about his story at all. Oh, I got retail and loss, and you know, got to be something there much more exciting and motivating. Some idea that you're trying to get through doing the pragmatics. All those pragmatics. There's a really good quote by a guy who kind of developed moments of engineering and did all the initial development of MIT on the moments. What moments are. And he used it, his statement a long time, that he used to say about materials. And he said, strength is essential, but otherwise unimportant. And there's a lot of things like codes. Codes are essential, but otherwise unimportant. ADA bathrooms are essential, but otherwise unimportant. And there's a lot of things like that in architecture that are essential. They have to be there. They're essential, but they're really unimportant. Okay? Once they're there, then they become unimportant. Okay? So think about what you're trying to sell is not the essential. What you're trying to do is sell this unessential. Okay, that's what makes your building a statement of architecture. Okay. All this essential stuff, everybody has to have it. Okay.
It's blowing up. Yeah.